coming away from boxing, making the decision that you're not going to fight anymore. Since then to now, have you ever missed it?
Nah. I mean, I've nah. It's definitely the right choice. And I knew it from the first time I went and watched a boxing fight live.
Kia ora, Junior Wha. Welcome to Unlocked with Rev.
Oh, good. Thanks for having me.
Look, I have to admit, I can't believe we haven't done this earlier. Like, there's always been this thing where I'm like, I'm going to be talking to Junior Wha eventually, and it's never happened.
I know, man. I mean, you've been on the big screen, so
You too.
I've just been contained on this little device here. I've been watching you guys doing your big thing. I'll be like, oh yeah, soon.
No, well, my thoughts came, to have you on for this because, as you were just saying, there's a lot of things happening with the new Zuffa Boxing in association with the UFC. And I go to your channel or your social media for information because I really like the way that you give your rundowns, and I feel like you deliver the information in a way that even if you aren't too fighting inclined, you can still understand what the information is. So that's why I was like, okay, I have to hit him up because you're the best deliverer of this news.
Thank you. Yeah, but I mean, there's boxing. There's so much politics, man, and there's so many things that people don't understand about it.
Yeah.
I know a lot from it because of the professional realm, and always good. I had a good manager, Mark Cadell, and he kind of taught me how things are run. And so I got to know, like, what it's kind of like to be a promoter, what's kind of like being a manager. And, things aren't as easy. Things aren't as easily done in boxing compared to compared to MMA. MMA,
Yeah.
a little bit easier to get things done. Boxing, it's a big business.
Yeah. There's a lot of hoops. There's a lot of people, a lot of fingers in the pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like heaps of moving parts. So it's very different. It's very different. So I try not to. I try to educate a little bit on that on my channel, but ultimately I'm off the fans. I'm like, yeah, bro, let's just make these fights happen, man.
Because what is your main like kaupapa around your channel? What is it that you're wanting to deliver?
Recently I've been really asking myself this question, and I think ultimately I really want to educate the locals a bit more on boxing, because we're not really a boxing nation. You know what I mean? Even in the combat sport realm, like New Zealand's, like boxing is there, boxing is strong, but compared to kickboxing, compared to MMA, those sports take over. And they're not the biggest sports here. I mean, we got to compete with rugby and rugby league, and then it's probably, kickboxing, MMA, and then boxing. But people see boxing as it doesn't have its rich history here. But it's a sport that I love. It's a sport that a lot of people love here, and so I want to really educate people on that, and try to get them interested in the fights that are not just here and that are not just in Australia, but the fights that are happening on the bigger stages, like in the UK and like in the American market. So that's my ultimate goal. Goal is just to educate those.
Yeah. Well, even I've come to you and asked questions. So
Yeah,
if this happens, what happens with this bout? And
yeah. It's so confusing.
And so you seem to be the go-to.
Yeah.
But look, that all came from obviously your career. And I know we want to talk about Zuffa and all these sorts of, cool things that are happening at the moment, and a little bit of controversial things happening as well. But I did want to touch on your career just a little bit, because 10 years ago, February 2016, you made your professional debut and won against Richard Tutaki. So I kind of thought, man, that's 10 years. How fitting that I get to talk to you, celebrating 10 years, I would say. I mean, I know you're a former boxer now, but, do you take time to sit back and, take stock of that, pretty cool career you had?
I don't. No. I mean, like, because it's such a moving sport, and I love the sport, and so I'm always really thinking about the sport. I'm not really thinking about myself. But yeah, 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 it's pretty cool that you remind me of that because I was just like, what happened 10 years ago? It's like, oh
Where is
shit,
this
how
going?
long have been you? Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty cool event too, because I just decided to get back into boxing. This was when Hemi Heel was popping off, and this was when
Mm,
Carlos Olberg was kind of like just figuring out that he wants to give this combat sport thing a real go. And so, I remember coming to the gym and I'm seeing Carlos, and then I'm just like, whoa, he's a beautiful man. And then I see Hemi, and then I just see like the difference in levels compared to when I first met him. Bro, because man,
mm.
when I first met Hemi, holy heck, man, that guy did not move his head.
You
For
didn't
the
need to
second
most of
he did not move his head. But then,
the
but then fast forward a couple of years, and then he's just like bobbing and weaving everywhere. Then,
time.
so yeah, but that was always cool getting back to that. And then I made my professional debut against the late Richard Tutaki, may he rest in
Mm,
peace.
mm.
And it was cool because it was on my manager's birthday and my dad's birthday. A lot of people have birthdays on that day. It's the same birthday as Dan Hooker, the same
Oh,
as my
crazy.
sister-in-law. Like heaps of people got birthdays on that day. And then a couple of days later, then my daughter was born.
Wow.
So yeah, man. So yeah, it was a pretty cool time. Pretty cool
Mm.
time. Something that I really forgot about. It was pretty cool that you remind me of that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, worth celebrating 10 years ago. And I mean, you went on 20 and 3 in a professional career, which is pretty great. And, you made the stop to that career. You could have very well have, maybe gone on if you possibly wanted to, but that wasn't to be. But you 100% are one of those, fighters that we think of in New Zealand who has been, kind of a blueprint in terms of the things that you have done, the people that you have trained with. You mentioned Hemi, but we know, you were closely alongside, Shane Cameron, Cairo George, all these boxers that have gone on to do, great things as fighters and coaches, gym owners. So yeah, 100% should be celebrated.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool on this side, and it's cool. I get to delve into a lot of the boxing spaces right now, because when I left, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Now I train people for personal training sessions through boxing. Now I've just decided to start a little boxing team, which is something I never thought I'd probably do. And
Mm,
then, and then I get to educate people as well. So basically, my life is still revolved around boxing, just boxing as a business, boxing as a sport, and I get to pass on my knowledge as well. So yeah, no, it's pretty cool, and it's pretty cool. It's very easy. It's something that it's very easy when you're doing something that you like and something that
mm.
you just can do naturally. And I
Yeah.
mean, every question that my fathers give me, I can just refer back to an experience that I have. Or if I don't know the answer, I know a lot of people, so I get to ask my mates about different boxing scenarios and techniques that my fathers are asking me about. That's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. And Fano at home, if you only follow Junior Far later on in his career, the career started very early on. I think you were 16 years old, Junior, when you first
Yep.
started. And you're doing really well in the amateur ranks. Did I see you, the fight of the century, Shane Cameron, David Tua? Did I see you holding the door open for Shane Cameron as he walked out on that fight night
Yeah, I was
at like
there.
19 years old?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, heck yes. I mean, because he was of Lolo, and
Yeah.
so that was my coach, and then so I was just there. I was man, it was a buzzing night, man. Oh, that was a buzzing night. But yep, that was me. That was me, little skinny, lanky junior.
Yeah. And I saw you and I was like, was that him? Because obviously you were so young. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that, because you can tell because of your height, obviously,
yeah,
6'5". And even as a 19-year-old, you're pretty
yeah,
tall.
yeah, yeah.
And then I think I see Shane Cameron giving you this little smirk as he's
Yeah,
walking through the door. And I was like,
yeah,
that's Junior.
yeah. Yeah, man, that was me. That was me.
been in the mix for a minute. But you talk to us a little bit about that night, because obviously that was the biggest fight in New Zealand boxing history. Then it went on to you being, with you and the Joseph Parker fight being the next, how many years later, being a big fight as well. But what was it like to be in the presence in that night, considering the history that it still is to this day?
I was buzzing, man. I was buzzing because there was a, there was a big build up. But as a fighter, you don't really get too caught up into other people's build up as well, because at that stage, yes, I'm 19, yes, I've got my amateur career, but I'm zoned into my own career, man. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about my next fight, so I didn't really get too caught up in the whole build up of Shane Cameron and David Tua. But but that night, big event, loads of people there. Two really good dudes, bro. I still remember, like, Shane Cameron's always been super cool to me. He still sends me his gears every now and then, man. If he sees that I'm low on stock with my gloves or like pads or something, then he sends me some of his counter punch gears. He's super cool. And David Tua, I remember the second time I saw him, because the first time I saw him, I introduced myself to him. And then years later, he came up to me and then he's like, "Hey, Junior." And then I was just like, "Oh,
You know who you are?
you my name." Oh my God. Just another cool, super cool human, you know what I mean? And just to see how highly skilled and how, what's the word? How violent both of these guys can be.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good reminder for those that are watching from the outside. We're not just demons walking around our streets. I mean, we're just normal human beings that love the technical aspects of violence.
Yeah. In a really technical and loving way.
Yeah, true.
I see them together quite a bit, Shane and David, whenever Henry has something on. Henry Schuster, obviously you trained under him. He's my coach now at the box office. So, if it's like Ina's Memorial Cup or something like that, those two are always the ones that are there, have a beer together. And it's really cool to see, really weird to see, but more cool to see.
Yeah, man. Super cool guys. And Shane Cameron always has like really fun stories that he like tells, that he's really good at like saying it too. Loads of funny stories coming from Shane Cameron about David Tua and them too. But yeah, man, that was such a cool night. And then also, fast forwarding to me and Parker's night too. Yeah, just another great event. But same thing, when you're a fighter, you don't really take everything in. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, I've got to walk out to like the Spark Arena, and loads of people were there, and it was super cool. But I'm just showing it to my fight. Haven't had, as I said at the start, haven't really had too much time to reflect back on my own career properly. I do get reminded sometimes when I'm talking to Lolo. Lolo will just bring up like stories back in the day, and then I'm thinking like, oh wow, that's right, that happened and that happened, because in the amateurs, like, loads happened back then, and Lolo's got a really good memory, and he just reminds you of this story and that story, and those are like those were the moments that I really reminisce on, because like they're little things that didn't seem that big at the time. But when I think about it now, it's like, oh wow, yeah, that was a big deal when I flew over to that country and I fought, and I flew over to this country and I fought, and I done well. It's like, oh man, big history.
It's cool because they take pride in those moments as well, right? Just being a part of it. I mean, your debut, I think it was Lulu's card.
Yes,
you made your debut on. Yeah. So of course they'll be like, bank that cool memory.
Yeah, heck
something cool to talk to you about.
Yeah, for sure.
But then that was October. And then fast forward, I think the following year you went to the Commonwealth Games in Delhi. October 2009 was Fight of the Century. And then the following year, I believe you went to the Commonwealth Games in Delhi. So before Before we move on to the actual stuff that I was pulled you on here for,
Yeah.
quick little recap on the Delhi Games and how cool that was to come away with, with a bronze medal, which was kind of like the catalyst in my opinion. That's when I kind of like, oh, this guy's Junior Fan. This is, he's, a great heavyweight prospect for New Zealand boxing, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I know you've been asked this a million times about, what that would have been like to compete over in India, coming away with a bronze medal. But what is that like? And how different was that from maybe the other experiences in your career?
It was fun, man. It was fun. Like, every time I think about boxing, like, the fights are really like the last thing I think about. I think about the trips. I think about, you know, the people that were with me, like my teammates, and it was fun walking around the Commonwealth Games Village. Um, but that experience was super cool. We got to go overseas, represent Tonga, and see, all the other countries and see all the other sports stars there. Super, super fun. But the fights itself was always cool because I remember because Parker was there as well, and he and I kind of made a name for ourselves straight away because we both grew up very big countries straight away. So they had New Zealand guy Joseph Parker, and he grew up against Canada, and big country, promising heavyweights in Canada, and he's fighting the small island of New Zealand. That's the same as me. I grew up against England straight up, and then same thing, big boxing country compared to Tonga, and both of us beat like very two promising countries, and then so me and Joseph Parker were just like elevated straight away. People instantly started to watch us.
Yeah.
And then we just continued on with our fights and stuff. We were hoping to meet in the final, but he got unlucky on his fight, which was very, very close, very close. It was so close that they had to do a count back. So what that was is that back in those days, amateur boxing was 4 2-minute rounds. It was 4 2-minute rounds. And then on the last round, it was a draw. So it was a points. Man, there's a lot there. Anyway,
Sucks to be on the wrong end of that decision.
Yeah. Anyway, super, super, super close fight. They just came down to 1 point on the last round and the other way. And then and then I proceeded to go and win my next fight, then lose in the semi-final. So I came back with the bronze. It was cool. It was cool because I got a lot of support from my family and friends, and being at that age too was like super cool. If we even went overseas, and I was overseas fighting, and then I came back with a medal. It was like, oh, cool. Yeah, and then
What do you do with that medal? Is it on the mantelpiece? Is
who
it
knows?
on the bedside drawer?
Who knows?
Walking down the phone
Eugene.
book.
It's probably it's probably a coaster on the table
Under the coffee cup.
Yeah. I remember winning I remember when I first came to CKB, Eugene was talking about belts and stuff, and was saying that when the fighters win belts, that I should come and stay at the gym. Because when they're at home, they just collect dust. And he was 100% right, bro. Like, I don't know where my belts are. I don't know where my. Oh wait, no. I think my mum has my medals from my amateur days. Apart from that, I wanted to keep. And I have no idea why, because I have no idea where it is
There'll
right
be
now.
so many as well. I'm not saying that you're not appreciative of, the moment and, why you get them, but when they build up, they can almost become a little bit of a nuisance.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's there. It's like, cool. But man, I really should have just given it away. I really should have just give it to mum. But yeah, I'll probably do that after this, to be honest. Go and dig it up, go try and find it, go put it somewhere where it's more meaningful, you know what I mean?
Well, you've got your space now. Maybe you could display it there. in some
Boo,
way.
boring. even I'm like, yeah.
Shame.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, man.
No, well, but to wrap that caught it all up, bro. I was, how amazing to have two boys, South Auckland, on the world stage, doing really well, at a Commonwealth Games.
Mhm.
I mean, that doesn't happen too often. So, I mean, it's been a moment in time, and you two kind of worked in like this train track kind of projection over the years, and then your paths obviously met down the track. But amazing story. And then to see where you are now, you've got a beautiful family. We haven't seen you fight since 2023, December 2023. But man, did you ever, from that last fight, that last camp, coming away from boxing, making the decision that you're not going to fight anymore, since then to now, have you ever missed it?
Nah, nah. I mean, I've nah. Nah. It's definitely the right choice. And I knew it from the first time I went and watched a boxing fight live.
Oh yeah.
As fighters, when we watch a live event, we always wish there was us in there. You know what I mean? And when I retired, then um, I got asked to be an analyst on one of the design shows when David Nika fought here.
Right.
And that was it was like co-promoted by Joseph Parker as well. And they asked me to come in. And at that event, I didn't feel the same anymore. You know what I mean? I was walking around, I was talking to the fighters, and I didn't get that feeling. And then I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, I definitely made the right decision because that fighter in me isn't there anymore. It's gone. I can now move on properly because in a way I'm very, very thankful for it. And there's no amount of money that can bring me back into the sport anyway. Once that fighting spirit's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of guys that retire and they come back and they fight again, and it's just for money. And and you got those that just really can't get rid of that fighter within them. They just want to fight forever. I'm not like talking down on it. It's just some people, they're just born to do this. And for me, that fighter part of me is gone now, and so now I can just peacefully continue with my life and
Yeah.
just be a big fan of the sport, which I am.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And even, I've been watching your social media clips about your son and, him with having autism and your beautiful little family. So, what a privilege it must be too, to really concentrate on that side of things, because obviously when you're a fighter, it's a very selfish sport. You have to come
Yes.
away a lot of the time, and there would have been a lot more pressure on your wife, I imagine. So it must be nice for you to be able to share that load as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good thing he said that's a selfish sport. You know what I mean? A lot of people got to keep that in mind when they're venturing on the sport. It is very selfish. It takes a lot of support from your partner. You know what I mean? I leaned on my partner for my entire career, and you can't do this by yourself. If you want to raise a healthy family in the sport of boxing, you need a good partner. So that's exactly what I was. I was very selfish for all those years, and then now all right, now I've got time for my family. Now I can give back to my family. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was one of those things that understood, and that she understood. I understood that for the short window that I have in the sport, it's going to take a lot of dedication from me to turn up to training, which means my partner has to pick up the rest at home. So
Yeah.
both of us are working very, very hard.
Yeah. And so the
But yeah,
least you can do is want to be there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So definitely made the right choice.
Yeah. No, nice one. And then, of course, fast forward, like I said at the beginning, how I stalk you for information about boxing, but I wanted to talk to you about Zuffa Boxing because it's this, new innovation by the UFC to rival all these other promotions, and we see it. We see kind of the promoters themselves starting to war against each other. I've seen these words slinging between Dana White and Eddie Hearn at the moment, which I've found quite entertaining.
There hasn't been any pushback. Okay. This is like beating up babies. I feel like I came in and I'm beating up babies. I expected more. I expected some pushback. I expected some, I don't know, them to be more game. They're all way out of their league. Like, absolutely, positively out of their league. I'm actually a little shocked.
I mean, look, Dana's always been very complimentary of what we did. I think if you look at behind this board about when you talk about vision and what we've done for boxing, I think we've been visionaries. Right now, and I know they're only, 4 or 5 shows in, but their vision is Callum Walsh fighting main event with Max Kellerman telling you that he's the next Roy Jones, and Charles Martin headlining on a Sunday night in front of 150 people in a garage, in a ring that looks like it was pulled out of a club show. So what vision's that? I mean, what they're trying to do actually is, I feel like, manipulate fight fans and tell you that this is the best. The Zuffa belt is what matters. But fight fans are much smarter than that. They're not idiots. Trust me, I know them inside out.
What is your take on more competition in the boxing world? Because obviously it's great for the fighters and exposure and opportunities. But yeah, what's your take on, this new element of boxing?
It's just interesting right now because they've said a lot of stuff when they first came into the scene, or when they were going to come into the scene. A lot of them said about the bouts. Dana White's vision was to make his own bout, and I think the Ring Magazine bout, which is under Turki Al-Sheikh, the big pockets of boxing, the one that funds the whole Riyadh season and everything. So it was just going to be the Ring Magazine bout and the Zuffa bout, which is just a brand new bout from old Dana White. And they said that they weren't going to work with any other sanctioning bodies. And then fast forward a few weeks later, or a few months later after that, then they signed on Jai Opetaia, which was the real confusing part for me. Because I was thinking, wait, but they said they weren't going to be working with the other belts, but Jai has only been talking about becoming undisputed. He's been saying that for the longest time. And when they announced that he was going to sign on with them, I was like, hold on, what the heck's going on? So I think, to be honest, we're still at that stage. We're still at the stage of really finding out what is happening. I think Dana and Turki Al-Sheikh understand that they really can't do it without the other belts. As annoying.
Do you think he can't do it without the other belts yet, or at all?
I think if you're going to say yet, it's going to be a very, very, very long time. Very long time until fighters are willing to kind of, go away from the belts. Because the belts, yes, as annoying as they are, doing the sanctioning fees and stuff, and you really can't get far unless you do hold belts, unless you do hold, like the IBF, the WBO, the WBC. They do play such a huge role into these fighters, especially the fighters that want to become great. And that's Jai Opetaia. He's been talking about that for the longest time. And this recent fight that he's got, it's gonna answer a few of those questions. I do believe the IBF belt is on the line, but I don't think it's getting talked about. I think they're just talking about the Zuffa belt. But I was saying on my channel, I was like, so what happens if it's not for the IBF belt? What are the IBF gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, does he run the risk of having to vacate it?
Exactly. And then what does then then what happens to Jai Opetaia? No, because he's just been talking about becoming undisputed and then moving up to heavyweight. So a lot of things are going to, I think, be answered in a few weeks or very shortly, because Dana White has a lot of explaining to do.
Are you worried at all that Jai Opetaia and his bouts are kind of the blueprint to all of this, and what could he could get caught in somewhat of a riptide?
It's all happening much faster than I anticipated, which is great. And to have on our fourth fight, the best fighter in the world, the #1 ranked fighter in the world, Jai Opetaia, undefeated, 29-0 with 23 knockouts and just a little more. He at 17 years old, he became the youngest heavyweight ever to compete at the London Olympics. And one of the things that I promised when I got into boxing is that the best would fight the best.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but I trust his team are doing the right thing. And I trust Jai Opetaia and his team have made the right decision. I mean, as I said, I mean, you can't sign Jai Opetaia unless you promise him the belts. So
why would you do it?
Yeah, exactly. So and then actually that was the first thing that they mentioned when Zuffa signed him. It said Zuffa, then it said road to undisputed. So I was like, oh, okay. So that's why it was so confusing. That's part of the reason why I'm confident that Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh and Zuffa Boxing have to come to some sort of agreement with the other belts. But dealing with the other belts isn't easy. You know what I mean?
No.
They're expensive. As annoying as it is, they're expensive. They demand sanctioning fees. They demand to be flown out, and like it's stuff. It's stuff that I really agree with. With some of the fighters have been talking about speaking out against the WBC bouts, and and that all this money is going to these sanctioning bodies, and it just funds their big dinners, and it funds this and that, and they just they get all this money from the backs of fighters. But in reverse, as I said before, the fighters can't do it without the bouts anyway. So it's just part of it just comes with being great, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where or what happens with the sanctioning bodies and Dana White.
Yeah, because that fight is not too far away, and obviously we can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see Jai in there and representing this organization and all that sort of thing. But yeah, there's so many things happening in the background, which seems to be a common thing with boxing.
Yes,
there's always something cooking.
Yeah, It's a lot. As I said, there's a lot more moving parts of boxing. Man, boxing isn't as when you look at the UFC model, it's not like that in boxing. Like they can't just make fights happen like that. We're not just under one guy at the top. We have multiple people at the top, and they got to work together to make these fights happen, which is a good thing because it protects the fighters as well. You know what I mean? We don't get ruled by just one guy and he says, all right, you versus you, dance for me. You know what I mean? It's very different in boxing. As annoying as it is, I think ultimately it does keep things, what's the word? A little more I think a little bit more of like what's fair for the fighters in terms of what they get paid.
Yeah.
But something that I like about Zuffa Boxing, that I see in the future, is that they're going to keep the fighters busy, which is something that I really, really was jealous about with the UFC fighters. Whenever the boys came back overseas, whether they won or lost, they would just have a couple of weeks off and then they get another fight. I'm just like, oh, what about me, man? I've been waiting here for a year.
You just had a fight.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the heck, Well, I've been like, almost good pay, but like, keep me busy,
Yeah.
That's probably the worst thing for our fighters, just inactivity, and they get a lot of fights, and us boxers didn't. So
Yeah.
that's that's one thing I like about Dana White coming into boxing, is that I think he's going to formulate a model that'll kind of emulate UFC, keep the fighters busy, because that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably why they're doing it at the Apex, because you wouldn't be
Yes.
able to jump around venues if you yeah, it's going to get more if they're at one central location. I mean, they do the jiu-jitsu there as well when they set up their, you know, that stuff
Oh
there.
wow.
So, but at the same time, the Apex is hardly a stage like like the big boxing stages we see around the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Even the uniforms.
Oh my God, I was going to
They
ask you
get
about this. Most
uniforms.
importantly,
Oh
'cause
yeah, man.
you would know, being a former fighter, what goes into that uniform, or, you know, sponsors, design,
Yes.
comfortability, tamir.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on boxers having uniforms like that? I mean, amateurs obviously have them, blue and red.
Yes. Yes.
But your thoughts on pro fighters fighting in uniforms?
I think it just takes away extra money from the fighters.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I didn't even know why they stopped doing that in the UFC. You know, did the big man get greedy with the sponsorship deal, and just, like, you know, took away the opportunity for these fighters to get sponsorships on their shorts? Because, as I know, I remember watching UFC when I was younger, and, you know, they used to come out with all different types of trunks,
Yep.
different brands on their shorts, and then they got taken away. Um, and we kind of see the same thing here. Yeah, I mean, it's a like, visually, it's like it shouldn't be as big of a deal as it is, but it does take money away from the fighters.
Yeah.
And it just leaves things. It makes it all about the brand. It's all about Zuffa. You know, it's just
Yeah.
black corner, white corner, because I believe it's like black and white trunks. And you don't see any type of personality. You know what I mean? Jai's always got that gladiator type of trunks on, and so, you know, and so I remember him fighting in those constantly, and then now I'm going to see him in, like, white shorts or black shorts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be as big of a deal as it is. Oh,
So no rappers coming out on the walkouts, or no fireworks, no
yeah,
flames.
so, yeah, so it's not going to be a big spectacle as
Yeah.
as we're used to in boxing. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see if they'll continue with this.
Yeah, well, you know, if Dana White wants to rival, you know, these other promotions, then he has to come and play the game, right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
I think he can't enter into boxing the way he did with MMA, because MMA was such a new sport that we're just still figuring out the rules and stuff, and they're kind of still doing it to this day. And, you know, he really got to jump on their market. You can't do that here in boxing. Boxing is we've been here, and it's been run like this for a long time. So you don't get to do that. And I think he's very confident. He's very confident, but I don't think he's going to get the vision that he wants. I think he'll probably get something altered. You know, he'll be able to maybe still do his still do his shows, but they're not going to be as big as he thinks, or there's going to be a change that he didn't want. I mean, there's already been changes, you know, because, as I said, he said he wasn't going to work with the belts. Now he kind of has to, because of Jai Opetaia's there. So yeah, plenty of moving parts, a lot of things to be ironed out, because it's such an you know, it's still early days. But, as I said before, he doesn't get to do what he done to MMA in boxing. I mean, he can't do that here.
Yeah. No, very, very interesting indeed. But as we all agree with as well, can't wait to see Jai Opetaia in action over at the Apex. It's going to be new, it's going to be different, but he'll be a part of a little bit of history as well. Before I let you go, Junior, where can we expect to see you next, besides your cool stuff on social media?
Yeah, so I'll just be popping up every now and then, man. I'll be popping up on my YouTube channel, and you know, online, giving my opinions on stuff. and you probably see me pop up in the 1 minute scraps in the background or something.
Like everybody else.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm somewhere there at the back judging. Yeah, well, that, and then I'm also starting to coach fighters, because as I left boxing, I started to do little fitness classes, but I don't get to use my fighter brain for all those fight classes. So I decided that I actually do want to train fighters. So that's basically what I'm doing now. Tomorrow we got sparring at our gym, so you get to work as a coach, and tell you what, man, it's a lot stressful than I thought.
Oh yeah. Dealing
There's
with
a
people
lot
is
of
the most
things to
stressful
kind
thing.
of. Okay, I gotta slow that down. Okay, I gotta slow down. So, oh my gosh, far out.
No, thank you so much for your time, Junior Whānau. If you want to follow Junior Whā on Instagram or Zuffa Boxing Academy, the new page, hit him on a follow. I'll put the link down below as well to give him a follow as well. But thank you so much, Junior, and can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.